Well, thanks so much for having me. I really appreciate the opportunity to talk about this bill that's so important to local government. So, how did we get here? Well, we have, municipalities have the opportunity to charge a MUD tax, the municipal utility tax, and the municipalities are charged with collecting that tax, as everyone knows. But often there's some discrepancy between what the municipality knows they should get and what ComEd or whatever the utility company, but predominantly ComEd, is providing in payment. That's always been in the back of my head. It was brought back up to me by the efforts of the ICLG and others that, this was not working. And the lawsuit that was filed in the city of Des Plaines was finally settled. And I happen to have been an alderman when the city of Des Plaines had this growing number of utility taxes that were owed to us that we were not able to collect. And so we said, well, we don't want to go and sue ComEd because it's a David and Goliath kind of environment, but we had no other opportunity. They left us no other choices than to pursue this legally. And it took forever and ever for this case to be resolved. So I was an alderman at the time, and in Des Plaines we're term limited. So my term was over long before this case. And I then, ironically, am in the Illinois Senate years later when this case is finally settled. Utility companies are charged with collecting. We just need them remitted back to the communities. Regardless of campaign contributions, I think we're charged with doing the right thing for our constituents. The rest of it doesn't come into play in my decision making. So when there's something that's brought to my attention that's wrong, and we have a path to correct it, I'm always going to pursue that. But do they have an army of lobbyists and attorneys? And, yes, they do. Normally, you'll have a small municipality that has one attorney, if they even have an attorney on staff. Some of them just contract out for the services. So it's difficult. And I think sometimes some of the bigger utility companies will prey on that and look and count on the municipality not following up, not filing suit, because often you spend more in legal fees and attorney fees than what you would have recouped in the owed taxes. And certainly that was the case in the Des Plaines case, where ComEd spent an inordinate and large sum of money on paying for their attorneys and court costs and things of that nature, when if they just would have paid the municipality, everyone would have been ahead of the game to begin with. Yeah, it was wonderful. There were 48 different mayors and other communities that signed on to the letter requesting that they get their fair share of repayment. And particularly when we're in this almost post-COVID environment, municipalities have not been receiving the revenue that they needed on sales tax, liquor tax, hotel, motel. You could go down the list of taxes that they're not. And so the utility tax, however, is a given, and it's already being charged and it's been collected, but it just hasn't been remitted back to the municipalities. There is a very likely source before any local elected official would have to go back to their constituents and to the residents of their community. There's a funding source right there that might prevent them from having to go dig deeper into the pockets of their community. Well, I recalled the vote when I was on the council, and when you come up from local government, I think that you keep those roots in local government, and you understand, local government is the closest branch to your community. Nobody goes to the grocery store anymore without being stopped by constituents. So we don't forget that the important measure that this has with your local residents. It just gets magnified at the local level, where it may not seem a lot, when we deal with billion-dollar budgets here at the state level. When you're dealing with those municipal local budgets, every dollar counts, even more. Well, I think that a good citizen does the right thing, does what they're supposed to do, right, and follows up with it. And when they're made aware of a problem, you work to find a solution. And so far, we didn't see all of our utility companies work to find that solution. I think now they're a little bit more engaged, and sometimes legislation prompts that behavior change. That's sometimes why we have to legislate certain practices and policies, even though there's already something in place. But it does help prompt the right behavior. Majority of the utility companies have been doing the right thing. They have been remitting tax. There's just really one major electrical company that has, been a bad actor in this whole thing. I feel it's important to do the right thing, and the right thing because it's the right thing for the municipality. It's the right thing for the residents that I represent. It's really the right thing for the utility companies to be doing, to remitting that. That's the right thing for them to do. And just sometimes people just veer off course a little and just need something to help bring them back in line. And I'm sure that the utility companies are going to be willing to provide payment back to the municipalities.